What up, y'all? It's Joe Budden, here to talk about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. You can get up to 100 times your money.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
SpectreVision Radio.
Telemetry and launch condition.
Well, some other observers.
Hey, it's late night.
It's late night on the astral plane, where it's never too late. With your host, Ryan Singer.
It's more fun to believe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking another voyage, late night on the astral plane with me, Ryan Singer, your host, and my awesome guest today, comedian, writer, and we're going to get into some stuff that's been going on, right before the recording of this, Becca Steinhoff, who
Hello.
You and I, when did we first meet? God, it's been a while, probably a long time ago now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember what years you did the Asheville Comedy Festival, but I'm sure that's how we met.
Yeah, it has to be. Because
Yeah,
you were
so
in
it's gotta
New York City for a while, right?
yeah.
I don't think we met there. Because I've popped in over there, obviously, but not enough for me to know everybody in the city when they were there.
Yeah. I was in New York from 2016 to 2018, and we did see each other there, but I mean, we already knew each other.
Yeah,
so
but yeah.
We're talking 10, 15 years probably. Yeah, it's good to see you
yeah,
again.
It's good to see you again. Ran into you while
In Asheville.
when I was there recently. It's always, so like refreshing to see, friendly, familiar faces when you're traveling.
Yeah, there was a lot to see that night, and I was immediately drawn to your show because I was like, I want to see what Ryan's been doing. And I happen to have a child-free evening, so I just beelined it right for your show. And I was glad to see you, and it's always nice to again see like a friendly person just coming through town. It's so nice.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Now we wanted to. Maybe we should just get right into it because it's been what's happening. So we've been having, and we're not trying to be those paranormal people, although I find myself saying that like all the time now. But we're definitely having some technical difficulties, which I don't usually have. It's very rare that I have these technical difficulties.
And I'm always ready to offer Zoom grace, but that's not really what we were experiencing.
Zoom grace. I love that phrase.
Oh, yeah. I've extended much Zoom grace over the years, but this was just stuff not working when it was working a second ago. That's different. That wasn't human error, I don't think.
Yeah, because I heard you talking. We were just kind of, catching up real fast as soon as the Zoom meeting opened. And then all of a sudden you're just gone. Like the voice is gone and it doesn't work anymore. So, and then there was, you want to lay this out for me, what we're dealing with?
We do. Yeah. Lay what out? Lay why I'm not surprised that this is happening.
Yeah.
I am an intuitive, and I always receive electrical interference when there's spirit present. They just mess with the electricity, and it always is in like, it's like the TV won't turn on, or I can't get to the thing I want to get to. My Bluetooth in the car stops working. And I always have, my intuitive ability stems from my spirit guide, which is my grandmother. So I always have my guide and my spirit with me, but that doesn't always affect my electrical output. That's like, we're in tune. So there's So for me, when there's something I'm about to say or do or discuss and the phone call drops out, or it becomes impossible for me to speak or be heard, that's never an accident to me. That is spirit. That is whatever it is that doesn't want to be messed with. And the particular spirit that I had intended to speak with you about, I don't even want to call it a spirit, I'm going to call it a demon. There's this thing about this demon where we really shouldn't be discussing it because it potentially brings him back into existence in a real way. But I already received consent from my friend, my higher self, and my friend who I've experienced all this with. And she was like, it's not a big deal. I ain't afraid of no ghosts kind of. And so to me, it's familiar to me. The last time I met this demon, he was trying so hard to screw with me electrically that this actually feels quite familiar.
Oh, wow. Okay. So the stakes just got raised over here.
I'm not afraid of no ghosts either, though. Like, this needs to be discussed because of how blatant and amazing it is. And I love the format. So I can't wait to get into it.
Okay. Well, for the record, I am afraid of no ghost. If the house starts smelling like sulfur, I'm out the door. You know what I mean? Okay. So do you want to lay out the beginnings of this story?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So this is an interesting one because it does intersect with kink and BDSM. So it's a very vulnerable place for me to speak from. That's not something I share with everyone or publicly, but I feel very called to share this story with you, especially since the opportunity presented itself to do so. So basically what's gone on is I had a sub who really, we had discussed me collaring her. And are you familiar with the collaring process and ceremony of that?
No, I'm not.
You don't really need to be.
Okay.
I can simply explain it in terms of an analogy. I would say a collar is to a sub what a ring is to a wife. Oh,
okay.
It's a symbol of ownership. Not ownership. That's a bad word, but
like a bonding or a
show of commitment.
Okay.
That mirrors marriage.
And it's got that same symbolic, I guess, circular form. Yes. And no ending or beginning, right? Isn't that what the wedding ring kind of represents?
Yeah, the wedding ring has a no ending and no beginning. The collar does get locked and sealed in whatever way of agreement that you discuss with your dynamic partner. And in this case, my sub had made her own collar for me to put on her because she just made it. And so we agreed to have a small ceremony at my house, and I put the collar on her, and we took a few photos. And within the first photo, the moments, the milliseconds between the first photo and the second photo being taken, this demon became so enraged that somebody else had collared her that the demon showed up and is present in the second photo. And it's very clear. And you can see from the first photo to the second photo. And I did send them to you if you feel like sharing it. But when you look at the first one and then you look at the second one, there is visual wiggle. I don't even need to explain it. It's there. It's clear as day. And then
real quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did send me these photos. So you're saying that we can share these photos now, like on the show?
I have consent from my former sub to share these. And I sent them to you. And I consent, and I don't think the demon needs to consent.
Okay. So well, yeah, let's take a look at these then. I'll put these up.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So I've got them. And so I'll be able to slide these in or whatever, put those or overlay them on the on the episode because we do video here. And okay, so I believe I'm looking at is the first photo, is that the one that's closer up, or which one's
the first one is the one that is closer up.
Okay, so we're looking at the close-up photo here.
Yes, the closer up of the two, but not by much. And you see the pink neon Becks, and you see another sort of resin sort of heart shape next to it, the Becks. And then you see the tattoos, they're all in perfect view. And you also see the emblem that she's wearing that says property of Becks. That's all in plain view. That's all very visible and more or less in focus.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the second photo,
Let's go to the second photo there. Huh.
take a look at that.
So what I'm seeing here, just, first thought is there seems to be like a cloud.
There's a cloud over the name on the collar. It is totally out of focus. It's a different color. And everything else in that photo is still in focus. You can still see the tattoos. You can still see the property of Beck's emblem. Nothing else is out of focus.
Oh, okay. I was actually looking at the wrong photos first. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, it's a totally different color.
Yes, there is something very angry and obstructing only the name on the collar.
What?
Do you see that?
Yeah, now that I'm actually looking at the photos I backwards to myself, if that's a thing to say.
I think they got sent to you out of order as a way to confuse you from understanding what I'm trying to show you, which is also not an accident.
I'll put them both up now. We'll do side by sides.
Both up together. Everything else is in focus, including the tattoos.
Because you said like neon pink, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "I guess I'm not seeing colors correctly for a second."
No, you're looking at So look at that.
Holy smokes! And these are just like boom, boom. These are like boom, boom, almost
boom,
like
boom.
burst.
I did just go check the timestamps to see if there was any secondary, like second distinctions, and it just says that they were both taken at 7:09 p.m.
Yikes.
But I was there. I took both photos. I took both photos right next to each other.
Okay. Now.
And then we started getting messed with.
Okay. So.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really want to give a lot of credence to the things that this demon did to try to scare us. But rest assured, we did have to have an exorcism for it. And, it's horrifying.
Who did you bring, or did you bring in someone in, or was it you?
I got a
god. You got like a demonologist guy or like an exorcist?
I'm highly favored, uniquely blessed. I have
okay. Well, we are in the, I love Asheville is, I don't know if I've ever been to a place that is more. There might be some that, rival it, I suppose. But Asheville feels very magic mountains.
Well, there's reason for that.
Very witchy mountains there.
There's reasoning for that. Firstly, the Appalachian Mountains are some of the oldest on the globe. So the inherent wisdom that lives in these mountains is some of the oldest wisdom that exists. So you bask in the glory of the mountains every day. Besides the fact that before Asheville was a colonized city, it was indigenous Cherokee land. It was also nomadic land. It was considered a place of nomads to come. And if they had lost their tribe or if they wanted to find a new tribe, this was a meeting place.
Are you serious?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Well, the reason I asked that is because years ago at the comedy festival, I was asked to comedically guide a bus tour,
the Lazoom tour,
to a comedy show and just make up stuff, right?
I remember that.
And so I did a quick little search on Asheville, and we're talking modern times or whatever we want to call them, like very recently. This is in the last 10 years. And the big thing about Asheville was that everybody moves here to start their life over.
Yes.
So that energy has never left.
It's actually intentional. It's actually considered a curse by the Cherokee. The Cherokee curse is sort of well known around here, that everyone that after we the colonizers colonize Asheville, the curse is that all who move here are doomed to remain. So people move here and then they might want to leave and then they're doomed to return. And I promise you, I feel a pull to return to Asheville every single time I leave. You're either instantly repelled by the city or you are doomed to remain.
That's interesting. Now, where did you grow up, or where were you born?
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay.
My family moved to Asheville in 2002, shortly after 9/11. My dad was supposed to be in the South Tower that morning, actually. So he was spared. He never left the city. He never left South Orange, where we're from. Within a year, we had moved down to Asheville. So I moved here at 14 in time for high school. So I did leave. I did DC for 4 and New York for 2. But other than those 6 years, I've been down here almost 20 years.
Those 2 moves were comedy moves, I'm guessing, right?
They were,
yeah. Both. I mean, that's the thing about comedians. I think
I wanted to get better.
In general, comedy moves. I don't know if I've ever called them comedy moves before, but you have to when I think you kind of know, even starting out, even before you do your first open mic, like I'm going to have to do a comedy move at some point, unless you're born in New York City or Los Angeles or Chicago, at least back in the day before comedy became so connected through the internet and everything else. But it feels like back in the day when you started, you kind of knew you had to make a comedy move at some point.
Oh, totally. And everybody here was like, I was in like the first wave of comics in this scene, and I'm honored to be that. But when everybody was making the move from Asheville to Atlanta, and I was actually dating a comic that lived in DC, and he said, Atlanta's cool, but DC is good too. And it's closer to New York. And I wanted to be with him. So I moved up there to be with him after I was done with college. And DC was a great city to do comedy in. Yeah. I made some really fun friends, and I got to open for some really cool people. And DC is a great city when it's free. And, and then, I moved to New York and did that. And New York is fun, but it's hard. And then I actually, back in 2018, my intuitive meter went off. I was living in Queens, and I swear I felt the pandemic coming. I felt this like pull to get off the island before they burned the bridges. And where was the first epicenter of the pandemic in the States? Queens. I was like, yep, I felt that coming. And I moved back, and I felt that pull to return to Asheville, and I haven't left since. And I have no desire to leave.
Yeah, what a beautiful place. I love Asheville. I finally got out to try to see the Brown Mountain Lights a little bit on this last trip, but I got there kind of late. But, we got there late, and which is when you want to be there. And there would just be every like 10 minutes, there'd just be a random huge pickup truck that would come and park over there. And then
only every 10 minutes.
And then just sit there and idle and then leave. And we're like, what is happening here? Anyway,
you would hear me make the joke on today's episode of Would Black People Feel Safe Here?
Yes.
That's my joke, because around here the answer is usually no, and that's horrifying. But yeah, too many pickup trucks, a lot of churches.
Yeah, it's a weird combination of things that cause an uneasement.
And it's hard for me, as like, I'm very obviously a northerner, but I've been down here 20 years. I have a twang. People from up north can tell I've spent time in the South, and people from the South can immediately tell I ain't from around here. So I have to sort of like,
you're in that liminal space in between. Yeah.
Yeah. Or I ham it up depending on if I'm ordering at Cracker Barrel,
Yeah.
I can do either.
Okay, so we were talking about, I got us off track here a little bit, but it's so fascinating to me about it. So it was Cherokee land, and it was a place for nomads who had lost their tribe to come and start a new life, or to kind of join a group, right? So kind of like a land of misfit toys, or outcasts, or just like loners, nomads. And so this energy kind of just really still resonates there, I feel like.
Absolutely. There is a vibe. There is a vibe that is irreplicable, and can't even be destroyed by 30, however many, the crest of waves of the hurricane. And you might have even picked up on some of that in your last visit, since it's post Hurricane Helene, because the earth that was unearthed by this water has really pulled up a lot of really old stuff. It's hard for me to, as an empath and an intuitive, it's quite hard for me to ride down by the river, or even really be down by the river for too long. Whatever it unearthed is unsettled. And it's a problem for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vibe is still beautiful. I have a friend that just moved here at the beginning of the month, and he's like, the vibe here is amazing. It's really nice for me to hear that people still feel that after what we went through here.
Yeah, it's indescribable for someone who wasn't there to, to articulate and even wrap our brains around the immensity of the damage. And Melissa tried to give me a crash course on it, and from an insider's point of view, and like the thing that still sticks out to me was the phrase, the water was 40 feet high above. And so and some people would mistake that for like, oh, so the water was 40 feet deep. No, the water of the river was 40 feet above what it normally is. So add that into addition to how deep the river normally is. And 40 feet is a lot of feet when it comes to water, which to me is just like, it's heartbreaking, it's astounding. And it's also a great reminder of just the sheer might, power, and force of nature.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also really highlighted how the internet is a basic need now. I think if you asked anybody that was in aftermath of the hurricane, it was food, water, power, water, and internet. Internet was included because you couldn't communicate with anybody, and it was a problem. It was scary. People thought you were dead. So yeah, the internet, it's weird how that's what I think about, but yeah, the internet as a basic human need is actually really should be up there with water and power.
Wow, that's interesting. And it makes me wonder about human evolution. And
so here's a fun example that you'll appreciate if I can take you on a tangent for a second. I write morning pages on a website called 750words.com, and I keep a streak going. But when I lost water, power, and internet, I lost my streak because I couldn't write I couldn't keep my streak going, and for many reasons. So when I finally got the internet back in a real way, probably 2.5 months later, I can't even remember, honestly, time was weird, but I emailed them and I asked them to repair my streak because I was out of power due to a hurricane. And they emailed me back and they said, this to me is the example of you experienced it or you didn't. Because I emailed them to say, this hurricane knocked me off my streak. And they said, well, the next time that you need to take a break, you can let us know. And I said, yeah, I'll let you know when I'm anticipating the next hurricane. It was insane to me that they were like, well, you can let us know when you're planning to take a break. And I went, I wasn't planning this hurricane. It was a really interesting response to.
Did they restore the streak?
Of course they did.
Okay, good. I was like, if they didn't, I'm gonna like, wow, like how precious do they hold their thing? But I'm thinking, so they really did. Funny. So they were like, but yeah, like, okay, well, next time you're gonna take a natural disaster vacation, right. Keep us posted. Oh,
the next time that I need to take a break due to a natural disaster, I will email you in that way that I can't reach out to you right away.
Yes.
Just that like really got me. I was like, yeah, you guys, did you read my email? That's the example.
Yeah, it was astounding driving through, and I've made that drive for the last, I don't know, over 15 years or whatever it's been.
You remember what it used to look like?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. And coming from basically the same area, coming from, the West, whether it was from Dayton down and then over or whatever. But wow, just the sheer destruction that happened, specifically what I'm referring to is Interstate 40, I-40. And then it just makes you realize, like, how the fuck did we build that in the first place? Like, we have like seriously terraformed. Like, it's like when people say like, oh, humans can't affect the climate and Earth. And I'm like, have you seen any major interstate that's ever been built? We're like totally terraforming the environment. And to think that we can't affect it, it's wild to me.
Well, and you think about like, okay, so when were the highways really built? After the Great Depression, with the money from like the New Deal, the boomer generation of all that money going in. Thank God that they did that then. But what's unfortunate now is that money is really gone. And so all these roads that are washed out by the water, they're being rebuilt quickly and poorly. And they're not going to have the same longevity. And we might not see that stuff again because the FEMA's already clawing back money. They've only given us like 6% of the funds that are needed to really repair all the infrastructure. So
they need to build internment camps for immigrants who are like not doing anything other than just making a living. So that's where all that money is like going into
which
these,
is one of the greatest bad ideas I've ever heard.
Right. Like I wonder
horrible. It's not funny. It's awful.
I wonder where like Asheville settles the energy there.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is that FEMA and other organizations that came in for support, like World Central Kitchen, a lot of them said that they had never seen community support and camaraderie the way they saw Asheville come together. And I would agree. I haven't seen a lot of natural disasters, but I would believe that we would stack up against any community that really had to come together. There was so much supply. There really was. And there was just this feeling of, what do you need? I have what you need. Somebody here has what you need. And my son had just turned 6 months at the time of the hurricane. So
wow.
I am just now buying my first diapers, actually, because I got baby shower diapers and then I got hurricane diapers.
Wow. Hurricane diapers.
Had what I needed other than, water and power. I still am weird about my water. I still drink. I'm still buying my water. Like I'm not ever going to drink this water. Probably. I'm not ever going to drink water from the ground right away again. I don't know. That's my thing. Where will Asheville settle? We're good. We're going to be okay. It's just that the power of that energy that you were talking about, that is what's keeping a lot of us here. Cause it's certainly it didn't get easier.
I've heard a similar sentiment about a place called Mount Shasta. And people who live there say people will move here and the mountain either embraces you or it spits you out.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really hear that about Dayton, Ohio. I don't hear people going around like Dayton, Ohio is either welcomes you or it gets rid of you. But in Shasta, they'll be like, yeah, the mountain will throw you off its back if you're not supposed to be here.
Dayton's like, you get to decide if you want to be in Dayton.
Yeah. Let us know if you should let the land. Speaking for the land, you should let us know if you want us to leave.
I guess that's just that flat crap.
Yeah, I mean, Dayton does have, it's part of the Miami Valley. So the glaciers really carved this place through, and there's some good undulations happening here, but there's obviously
not like a whole rolling.
Yeah. There's no big mountains or things like that. I
do feel like mountain superiority. Like I have friends that live like in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia, and they take these pictures of these like valleys and ranges, and they're like, "I'm so blessed to live here," and I go, "Oh, sweet summer child." those are but a sheet in the wind to what we have here. Let me show you. Let me take you into Agrabah.
My mountain is better than your mountain.
I have ranges. I do. And my family has 15 acres out in Candler, and Mount Pisgah's eyes are upon us in our field. It is stolen Cherokee land, but it's beautiful.
Well, let's do a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to, I feel like we kind of got tangentized or whatever the word would be. I want to wrap up that, what we started with this,
absolutely.
With the photos and the demon, the energy that was happening here. And because you mentioned the exorcism, and then we got distracted.
So that's not an accident either. I'm sure that was also part of it, and I'm happy to go back to it.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and just a reminder, if you're a patron, patreon.com/Ryan Singer, $3 a month. That's all you need for no commercials ever over on the Patreon page, and other stuff as well. So we're going to be right back and continue this voyage with my buddy Becca as soon as we get back from this quick break.
1976. Darcy and Daphne Davenport are married musicians who move to a remote cottage in the Welsh countryside to finish Daphne's new record.
Maybe I should just go back to London for a few weeks to finish the record there.
How about yesterday? You were recording for hours.
Yeah, it was all rubbish.
When Darcy explores deep in the forest to record audio samples, he stumbles upon a mystical sound never meant to be heard by human ears.
Gus, what is this?
Sounds like a spell.
It's sublime.
Drawn by the sound, a strange child soon becomes a part of their lives.
I followed the music.
You could hear that.
Sound travels here.
And from the forest comes something far older and far more dangerous than they could have ever imagined.
They're the old ones. If you stay out of their way, they'll stay out of yours. Probably.
And their lives soon begin to come apart.
Darcy is tainted.
There are things I haven't told you.
When words are left unspoken, beware what fills the silence.
There is a veil between this world and fairy. If you let the fairies in, they will guide you. You're not scared of me, are you?
Dev Patel, Rosie McEwen, and Jade Crute star in Rabbit Trap, a SpectreVision production of a Bryn Chaney film, now playing in theaters.
And we're back. I'm talking with Becca Steinhoff, comedian, writer, and we've seen some photos already that are a little disturbing to look at once you know the backstory, for sure. An exorcist is brought in. Your guy gets brought in.
I think exorcism is kind of a strong word. I said it, but it was more of just a spiritual cleansing. But yeah.
Okay, so like a removal of something, or just cleaning out the house or a person or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to tell more about this story. So, I brought in a spiritual advisor of mine who was able to sense and pick up on what was happening actually before I called him. So that he called and he said, what's going on over there? And it really did take, the spiritual combined power of him, myself, and my sub at the time. My sub at the time, I want to say something. I'm going to call her Allison. That's just a name. So Allison is a very powerful psychic and herself from a very long line of psychics. And this demon has been with her since childhood. And this demon that I learned all this stuff about later, this demon followed her and was with her whole life. Now, Allison had a very checkered past. She ended up doing a lot of drugs for many reasons, but including to drown out the sounds of all of these things that were appearing to her. So she ended up, and without her real knowing and awareness of it, the demon had placed itself in a human, and that human became Allison's wife for a long time. So every time Allison was talking to me about her ex-wife and this other dynamic, I didn't quite realize she was actually also talking about this demon that was housed in her wife. I'm not sure you're aware of that sort of thing happening, but I swear to you, if I can look at a person and I can't quite see their face or their eyes or something, you can look at a person and go, wow, that is more than 50% demon. And I don't know, I just can see that stuff. But so
yeah, that's
it's unsettling.
I've heard, it is unsettling.
It's unsettling, but it's more and more common, especially as the light and the dark separate into what we're experiencing, that final descent into, it's very dark times that we're in and on a large scale level. But back to this specific thing. So as soon as that demon was now present in her and mad at me for taking this thing that the demon considered theirs, the demon was very angry and had been living in her closet. And we kind of started to realize together that demon had been with her the whole time. I never wanted to go over to her apartment. I never wanted to even look into her bedroom. That thing was in her closet. And I wasn't available or around to be there when they all went over to her home to remove it from her home. But after all of that happened, she could actually no longer go into her home. She came and stayed at my house for about 3 weeks because that demon was so far less powerful here in my home, in my domain with my protection, than it was just rampant at her home. So they did what they needed to do to remove the demon from her house and her spirit and her life, but they had to throw out quite a bit of the clutter. They had to burn many things. They had to sage many things. It did manage to get into my home, but it was very heavily immobilized and mostly just in a corner. And it never visually presented itself to me because that's just me. I'm not able to see things like that in my home and continue to live. so I knew it was there, but I never looked at it directly, but I knew it was watching me. And it knows that, like I when I called Allison and I said, hey, do you consent to me sharing this? I don't want to discuss it a lot because I don't want the demon to return. She said, oh, that thing been bad. I'm like, I'm so glad that I like don't have to like be around that all the time, because I need my energy clear. But she's like, I have no fear of that thing. I have cats. The cats clean up the closet every now and again, is sort of what she said.
Oh, interesting.
So
I mean, it's,
but yeah, the demon was, the things that the demon would do to freak me out or try to freak me out would be like what I was telling you earlier. The TV would turn on and off. It wouldn't, let me open anything I wanted. I had tried to collect pieces of its darkness in stones, and then I would take them and I'd throw them into the stream out on my family's yard. But almost every single time that I would get down to the stream to throw the stones, like the car would stall on me or something would prevent me from doing it easily. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it takes an interesting path in life for us to get here, right? To be sharing this story. I mean, this isn't a story that you hear every day about trying to collect pieces of
the content as well. Like, it's a kinky story. It's a private story. You don't want to give credence to the negative things that affect you. You want to speak about the positive spirit that uplifts you, and you want to drown out the negative. Like, even if you have to be cleared or cleansed or removed to safety by an evil spirit, you never want to think about what happened, because it only allows them more credence to come back. So it's probably not super wise of me to tell the story either. But I think that there's power in sharing it. And much like abusers, the only thing that benefits from being silent is the abuser. So that might be why this demon doesn't want me discussing this right now, because it removes some of its, grandiose power by naming it and saying, actually, we beat this thing.
Yeah. And, that's refreshing to hear of the defeat of such a thing. And it is, speaking of what you're talking about, it's like, I'm interested in the journey to get to this place to where this is even parts of your life, right? I mean, this isn't, usually people don't go from 0 to 60 like this, just overnight, like a switch will flip. So you had to start being a woo-woo wild one when you were young.
Oh, absolutely. My mom is a very spiritual woman. My mom is a healer. My mom is a Reiki master, and she's, if my mom is like the balloon in the air, my dad is like the string with the weight on the ground. So whereas my mom is like spiritual and healer, my dad is like this like pragmatist realist, but even he has seen her do things that, couldn't be like explained, like these miraculous healings that I could tell you about, my mom being very powerful. And I'm the oldest of 3, and I'm the creative. My sister is a physical therapist and my brother is a rocket engineer, both quite tethered to reality as well. So I'm the only one that really like bought into the stuff that my mom raised us on. And I have my own abilities. So as I fell into my own abilities as an adult and my own path, I from a very young age, when my mom would share things with me, I would have to sit in my heart and hear how it would ring true to me, because some of the things that she would discuss wouldn't ring as true. But when they would ring true to me, I would know them to be true for myself, because some of it was just so out there. Reincarnation being like the bottom of it, like that's like a really easy thing to imagine.
Well, I'm fascinated by this triad here of siblings.
The triad.
You've got like, you are ether, your sister's like earth, physical.
Yeah, my brother is like,
your brother's like the mental.
Yeah, totally. My brother is like,
just happened over here.
Oh, really?
Like someone was stepping on the fucking floor.
So you heard a very distinct step, but you don't see anything.
Well, it was like a creak on the floor. You know what I mean?
An unexplainable creak on the floor. Do you have a candle you can light?
No, I think I'm okay. I mean, this house does this. Like I'm kind of traveling, so I'm at this house where I don't live, and I have done like heavy work in here, like not heavy work, but I've done like a lot of editing of this paranormal documentary, and sitting in this very chair, something very strange has happened while I was editing a very specific part of a documentary, trying to remove a name, and then I got a very late night spam phone call from someone asking for that person's name. So this, I don't feel like it's there's a danger here. I feel like it might even have been my lion coming in just to be like, hey, what's going on in here? You guys are talking about some spooky stuff. Anyway, sorry, that really it startled me.
I don't think any of that's an accident, and I'd highly recommend you light a candle anytime you're doing anything like that. They'll all be drawn to that light.
Oh, okay.
Anything that means you harm will be drawn to that light.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so you've got let's get back to reincarnation, because you mentioned reincarnation was at the bottom, meaning like that one was just like a no-brainer for you. Is that what you mean by that?
Meaning that would be like the freshman introductory class to spirituality that my mom would have raised us on.
Oh,
that's very basic stuff. My mom had encephalitis when she was young, and she claims to have lived on the other side for an extended period of time and have a very different understanding of all of those things. So she claims that she chose to return back into her body and all of those things. So I've also seen her do things that can't really be explained. Like we had a 12-pound Bichon get hit by a 2-ton truck when I was a kid, and my mom energy worked on this dog for about 4 hours before bringing him to the vet. And the vet was like, well, what's wrong with the dog? Well, the dog was run over by an 18-wheeler, by 8 of those wheels. And the vet's like, what? Like the dog lived another 6 years after that.
That's remarkable.
And, we left Jersey because one of our neighbors kept calling her a witch. He was like in back pain, so she made him like a St. John's wort bath, and he felt so much better that he was mad at her. And
what is that about?
Italian man can't imagine that a woman could heal him with a bath.
That's wild.
I mean, he doesn't have to be Italian. It's a man, really. A man thinking, what is this witchcraft? Mom would have been burned at the stake for sure. Yeah, so I grew up believing in, reincarnation is an easy one for me because we're souls having a human experience. Like my soul and my soul's lifetimes are not bound by this one meat suit that I wear.
I can totally dig that. I'm totally on board with it as well. And
you ever met like a young soul versus an old soul? You ever met a soul that's like, they're not a young soul, they're an old soul, but they refuse to learn that lesson. So they've just been lifetime after lifetime after lifetime going, why does this keep happening to me? If you don't learn it now, you'll learn it later.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I can see that in a mirror probably every day.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain parts of me that I'm just like, oh, this is,
and I'll blow your mind a little bit more because we are currently living in a country 249 years into a civilization when civilizations tend to rise and fall in such amount of time. I don't think it's an accident that any of us are living at this current time in this current meat suit for nothing. I think we are all valuable in this place time.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is. And I think I just saw something where MIT had done a study years ago where they predicted the downfall of the United States by 2040.
Sooner than that, I would hope. I got a pitchfork in the car. But my son has a baby pitchfork in the
it's just a fork. It's just a fork.
It's just a plastic fork.
It's just a plastic fork. It's like one of those spork. A spork. Is that what they're called? Spoon forks?
Yeah. My son's first words were no taxation without representation. It was wild.
It's like you got a little John Connor over there.
Let me eat. I believe in a lot of things, and I've learned that intuition is present in all bodies. It's just about how loud is it and how much do we trust that. The diet that we consume, dairy, often quiets the intuition. So like there's a diet that you can eat for high intuition, but none of it works if you don't listen to it. It's that feeling. I always describe it as the umbrella scenario. That moment before you walk outside where you have this thought to grab the umbrella and then you wish you'd brought it later. Just grab the umbrella. It's as easy as just grabbing the umbrella.
Yeah. It really is. And it's easy as realizing like, oh, I should take this other way to a place that I know how to get to, even though I usually go this other way. It's just doing it. It's just listening to that. Now, it's one thing to, kind of be raised with, reincarnation as your foundation baseline, right? Like
We're
kindergarten
also
stuff.
Jewish, so I was raised with all those things as well. And my dad, not believe. My dad's an atheist, so I had one person doing one thing and another person walking behind her, keeping her on the planet.
Yeah, and but there has to be times in your life where, we can be taught everything in the world, right? But until we're experiencing them for ourselves on our own, they're not really taking permanent hold, right? So it's one thing to have this mom who's teaching you all this woo-woo stuff, according to other people, it would be woo-woo stuff, right? So like, what are the early experiences that are like on an individual basis that are really cementing your path down this, into the world of the wild and the wonderful?
Well, I think the first time I really saw spirit in action for myself was in the house that we lived in growing up in Jersey. It was the oldest house on the block, and even the people that sold it to us told us that there was a ghost in it named Charlotte. She had lived and died in this house. So even moving in, I had heard and known that Charlotte was in the house. And then Charlotte was quite racist and would really terrorize all of our Black and brown, like nannies or anybody. They would always be the ones that would refuse to be there by themselves. One of them got locked in the basement for like 3 hours. They would complain about lights shut, like turning themselves on and off. There was only one staircase. Like when we first moved in, there was like the grand staircase. It was a Victorian house, but that there was a service entrance through the kitchen, but there was a wall in the kitchen and there was a closet upstairs. And they discovered that there was the service staircase that had been sealed off on both sides. And so my parents, one of the first things they did was they took the walls down on either side and put the staircase back in. But electricity would never work in that staircase. It would get repaired almost I think they gave up. They did it like every 3 months for the first couple of years. And then they just stopped trying to fix the electricity back there. So that's like where we figured she would be. But I would notice things like it's an old Victorian house. And in her mind, these things were in the wrong places. So like I would find books in the bathroom. I would find things that just didn't belong places in the place where she deemed them to be appropriate. And it was wild. And then when we moved, like I said, in 2002 after 9/11, my family moved down to Asheville. But on the day that we moved out, that ghost must have liked us and not wanted us to leave, because we were driving away to leave in a Ford Windstar with an electric door, like all you had to do is pull the handle and the doors close themselves. So this electric door would not close while we were leaving the driveway. It wouldn't like pull itself or anything, but it would almost close and then like pop back open, and we would go to close it and it would pop back open, and it wouldn't close, such that we had to drive halfway down the street before it would close. We just had to drive away with it open. And we did not warn the people that sold the house.
That was my next question.
But they called us on the second day. After their first night in the house, the woman called and said, "What was that ghost at the foot of my bed last night?" Mad at my mom for not saying anything to her.
What? I mean, that's legit. Like you don't just call people that you don't know that well. You bought their house. I've never bought a house.
My mom for not telling her. With accurate precision what the ghost was.
I mean, because my first thought when you told the story was the people who sold the house initially to your family. How often do people say there's a ghost in this house that you just bought from us? Like, to me, that's not something I don't know, but I'm guessing it's not something people share a lot if they do even believe it. And
it it was a really nice house. It was one of those houses that you'd be like, it's worth it. You'd still want the house, probably. It was a really beautiful house.
Called 2
like
days
18th
later.
Victorian. The tree in the front yard was like the second oldest tree in New Jersey. Like a really beautiful.
I mean,
house.
I love Victorian homes. I look at, I'm checking them out on Zillow. Something about old wallpaper.
Yeah, it was a beautiful house.
Yeah, I love like the ornate wood, like door frames, and they're beautifully built.
There's one more really kind of interesting tidbit about the house. It's not spiritual, but it is interesting. Not the people that we bought the house from, but the people that they bought the house from was the family of Zach Braff. So Zach Braff lived in that house at one point earlier than I did.
Of Orange County, or is that Garden State?
Garden State. He's
movie.
from South Orange. I'm telling you, that was Zach Braff's house. He lived there also.
That's
so
funny.
Hey, 6 degrees of separation.
What's up, Zach? Zach's a big fan of the show. I know he's listening, so shout out to Zach.
Really?
No, but we just anytime we talk about we just act like they listen to the show.
That would be so cool. I've always wanted to discuss this house with him.
Well, maybe someday you shall. Let's do one more. Let's do just one more little quick break, and we're going to come back. And we're going to talk about like the new age future, the psychic happenings now, and maybe what we anticipate for you individually moving forward, and some of the things that you've gotten into. So we're going to be right back with my buddy Becca. Don't go anywhere. You can always just hit the fast forward button if you hate commercials. I mean, do you remember that there's a little arrow probably on your podcast player? Well, that's just a little reminder. So we're going to be right back. And we've returned. Okay, so you grew up, a formidable time, a decent amount of time in years spent in a pretty haunted house. You moved to Asheville, 2002. What's the vibe when you first get to Asheville at the place you move into?
So we went from living like in a pretty normal, like there's one house in Jersey, and then we moved around a lot once we got to Asheville. I was a very like depressed kid in New Jersey. I was like the kid that really wanted to be liked. And so because of that, I was very annoying and no one liked me. And then I moved to Asheville thinking I had to like reinvent myself, only to find out I'm actually cool exactly how I am. So it was quite liberating for me to come down here. And I always felt more at home in Asheville than I did anywhere else. But we moved around a lot. And I moved out pretty early. I got my own place at like 17 I did high school and college here, and that went pretty quick. Cause then I moved up to DC pretty much after I was done with college. So, then I discovered comedy around the end of, I had a year left of college or so. So I started at 21. I've already been doing stand-up almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, time flies. It really does. I mean, I can't even think about how long I've been doing stand-up. I'm just like, what the
I don't like when people ask that, because it always makes me feel like I should have accomplished more. But
I always feel like I should be better than I am when I think about it.
Oh no, I'm very good at it. I just haven't accomplished anything with it. I've got the craft down pretty good.
Yeah. Well, how are you channeling all of this nowadays?
So that's good. I'm basically what happened to me is the empath and the intuitive abilities have always been there, but without the awareness of them, what ends up happening is that a lot of darkness is drawn like a flame to my light. So I spent a lot of my life quite angsty and depressed and feeling all of these emotions and feeling all of these things on me that are really not mine or me. So what you end up with now is somebody with deep awareness of my ability and deep desire to remain clear and protected from the enemies that would attach themselves to me. So you'll see a lot of me like spritzing myself clear. I don't like to light a lot of smoky things because I do have a young child here. So I'm constantly clearing and spraying, and I wear a lot of stones, and stones are where I derive a lot of my intuitive abilities from. So you'll often see me kind of holding them in my hand, and I do if all of those things had direct access to me, I would definitely be super overwhelmed all of the time. So I'm very grateful that my spirit guide, my Mimi, my grandmother, has presented herself to me in her many goddess forms, and she is the bearer and brunt of everything that wants to approach me. And it has to be through her, or I won't acknowledge it.
She's like the spiritual sentinel.
I do not share that with many. I really don't. It's not for everyone to know, but I'm sensing and I'm being told now that it's okay to share this with you, because I do have more to do. I have yet to really begin to use these abilities, as I am like still living in them. I'm still coming into my power. Not to say that I'm not fully in my power. I am fully in my power. I'm just unaware of the gravity of that power. I still am learning it and trusting it in that way. And I'm also coming out of an abusive relationship and an abusive environment and situation. So I had to regain my power. I had to release a lot of things that no longer serve me, which is not possible to do by yourself. I had to receive some spiritual support for that. So now you'll see me staying clear and moving forward on a path that I am trusting of. I don't know where I'm going, but I was told that I'm important to this society, and that I was told that I'm important, and that it is that I was on track. I was tapped into divine love, and I have that. And I use that on stage by bringing audiences together. But I'm also now tapping into divine wisdom, the intuitive. So that's new, but it is very much me on purpose in this life, my soul in this meat suit. So stick around.
I mean, it's really cool. And it's also, I feel like oftentimes people fall in that trap where I can't admit that I don't know everything yet, or they don't want to pretend like they're not already a master of something, and I think that really prohibits the journey and the growth, right? And it seems like you've got a pretty good grasp on, where you're at and what you still need to, come into and grow to understand.
Absolutely. If you're coming from a place of ego and you say, I am doing this thing, you are going to hit a wall because you're just a vessel. So I don't feel it as me doing anything. I am sometimes used as a vessel, but it's not me. It's just this group of protons and neutrons that and I do love like my brain, and I'm fine. Like, yeah, I think there's that sort of creative space, right? Like your artist child so often is murdered as a child, and you're told art can't fulfill you, art can't create you, art can't sustain you. But if you acknowledge yourself as a creation and you owe it back to creation to create, then yeah, it's not anything. It's not for you to judge the quality. It's for you to produce because you have to do it. So if you can marry that's what I think happened for me. I married my creative ambition with my ability to be honest and vulnerable. And all of a sudden, I use that stuff on stage all the time. I can guess people's birthdays. I can guess where they're from. If I can really tune into that stuff on stage, it's like a parlor trick sometimes, but it's so cool.
That is
it's
cool.
So cool. Yeah.
As you're talking this, it makes me, I just had this thought pop into my head. I mean, and you hear this a lot with like, what's our legacy going to be? Like, and performers are like, what's my artistic legacy that I'm going to leave behind? And I don't know. I think just, it's been my experience. Had a lot of guys talk about this too. Like, oh, what's my legacy going to be? Like I got to sire some children to be my heirs. It's like, whatever. Like, what are we talking about here? But in the way of creation and art, and we are pieces of art made by creation itself, like you're kind of saying here. It's like we are the legacy of creation, right? And so we are creation's legacy in the flesh, which is a really cool way to think about being alive.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when people think about the comedians that they remember, you don't often remember their jokes. You remember how they made you feel, what they were saying. And if you're a comic and you're not saying anything, you're not going to be remembered. And even if you are saying something, if there aren't people to hear it, then you won't be remembered. But if your goal is not to be remembered, but to be loved in this lifetime, then what more do we have to do than be nice to each other?
Right. And I leaned into the idea years ago that it's better to be loved by the few than forgotten by the many.
Yes. I would rather like someone hear my name when I'm not there and think, oh, I love that person,
Yeah.
And I'm not doing it because I want to be loved by people. I'm doing it. I have a very firm belief that if you're not nice to everyone, you're not nice. And there might be some people out there who I've been mean to, who they'll be like, oh, she's not nice to everyone. Well, I'm nice first.
I lead with nice, and then if that isn't being reciprocated, it's called mirroring. That's funny. I mean, it is. And then if we were to be honest, everybody wants to be loved. I mean, if we're just to be honest, we all want to love and we all want to be loved. We want to experience. The better way of saying it is probably all of us want to experience and live in love, right?
Yes.
And there's no shame in admitting that, right?
Yeah, that's what would be shameful about admitting that.
Yeah.
Thinking back though, like I do have more to do. I envision, being able to do those appearances with the spirituality, with the I'm sensing somebody born on the end of October. I feel like I receive downloads and I receive messages for people. But I still want to learn more about consensually sharing them with others. I'm still like a baby psychic in that way. So that's where I'll place myself on it. I still would like some training, but I know that it's there and I know it's clear. I know what I'm hearing. I don't know how to disseminate that information yet.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I'm trying to remember. Do you have like a tarot deck or anything, or it's mostly stones with you, or?
I have several decks that I use together. Mostly Goddess Oracle. I do have a deck of transformation, and I recently picked up a deck of herbal astrology. So it combines like the shadow work with like what herbs would be useful to somebody and how that ties into the cosmos, which is like right up my alley. But yeah, mostly what I really want is like a sort of like a Crown Royal bag with my stones, my minerals, because the minerals are what activate me to my messaging.
I love Crown Royal bags.
I like chunky minerals. I love, like, if you hear me, sometimes if I adjust my bra, you'll hear like clinking and clanking because I've just got like a chunky quartz with my tourmaline. I know those two are supposed to not go together, but I need them both. And yeah.
Well, now, why would we not put tourmaline with chunky quartz?
Well, I've read that quartz is like supposed to be an ethereal love center, whereas one is like a grounding solid, so they sort of counteract each other. But one is so deeply protective that I really need the tourmaline, and one is like the light center, which honestly I don't wear that one so much to promote my own light. I wear it to capture other people's darkness before it hits me. I end up having to throw out a lot of quartz. I rifle through a lot of quartz. And you'll be surprised. Like, I have a quartz that if I show you in the beginning, it's clear. Then by the end of it, there's like a cloudy imperfection or a crack in it somewhere. Something was trying to get on me and it got on the quartz, and now it must go. And the second that I think I want to keep it, I like this one, that's how you know it has to go.
Interesting. Now, would you just like bury it in the ground somewhere or something so it can?
No,
like,
I just throw them into the stream.
Oh, okay.
My family, there's a stream that runs through the farm, and there's a driveway that goes over it. That FEMA hopefully will give us money to repair. But yeah, I just throw those out. I throw those into the stream, and I buy these little like $5 ones, like, every so often.
I mean,
I also will fill them with energy and hand them to somebody as a gift.
You're like
sometimes will be called to like bring one and have it in my hand for a little while, fill it with some love and light, and then I am told who to hand it to.
I feel like you and I are similar in the way that like people are like, oh, so you built a survivalist bunker. What do you got down in there? Like beans and things like that, and gas masks? Like, no, all the crystals you might need for the apocalypse. That's all that's down here.
It's full of mycelium. Got to get those connections in.
You got to get the connections in.
We're the mushroom people of the apocalypse.
Oh my god. I love the idea of I gotta get a bunker made of crystal now. I'm just like thinking of a crystal cave underground.
Have you ever been to one of those salt caves?
I know there's a place called like growing up around here, there's something called the what is it called? They're called something caverns, and we used to do field trips out there all the time as kids, and they're really, really cool. Oh God, I can't remember the name of them, but and so around here in this, in the Midwest area in Appalachia, you got all the caves and what is it, the Mammoth Cave system that's happening, that's just underneath the entire country basically, which is wild.
Those are
But
cool too, but there's also like these like businesses like the Salt Cave where you can go into a room that's all filled with the Himalayan salt, and then you have like the Obsidian Cave.
this is a business.
There's businesses like Salt Caves where they've just rooms with different stones in them, and you can go in there and you can experience the vibe of those stones. I don't enjoy those rooms because again, there's a lot of other people's crap on them in there. But I have my own collection of chunky stones that really come in handy.
Well, Asheville's filled with like really interesting places like that. There's years ago I did there was a guy who was doing an LED light meditation or room there. I'm not sure if he's still running down there or not, but that was wild. Yeah, that was wild. But well, Becca, this has been great. I appreciate you making time to jump on here and share those stories. I mean, those photos are creeping me out.
Yeah, I can tell it's making you uncomfortable to keep talking about them or looking at them.
Well, it's, I make the joke. I say, stay woke, don't provoke. Like, I do a lot of investigations. I don't provoke. And my standing rule is if there's a demon involved, I usually don't get involved.
Yeah, that's correct. I just wanted to share it with you and then leave it for the audience to discern what the heck. But I really think that once you know the backstory, the photos speak for themselves.
They really do. And believing that all this stuff is real, with that comes, inherent respect of the power of such things.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interesting questions. If your viewers have follow-up questions, I'll be sure to look over them because I definitely want to spread awareness, not only about the spiritual and supernatural aspect of it, but the earthly aspects of what happened here and all of that. So
okay, well,
great. Look out for those.
And should we tell people where to find you on the internet?
Yeah, Becca Steinhoff on Facebook, Becca E. Steinhoff on Instagram, my website, beccasteinhoff.com. And you'll find me here raising my son in Asheville, North Carolina on most days.
And if you're in Asheville, North Carolina, you'll be able to find you on stage around there,
totally.
I'm sure, as well. So, because there's shows happening there all the time.
I have little reasons to leave. I get to get on stage. Very blessed, very fortunate to live here.
I love that town. I love that city.
Thank you.
And I walked around for the first time, like outside of like being part of the festival years ago, down in that downtown area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how have I not done this? And I went to like the library that has that little used bookstore inside. And I grabbed a book called Wave the Peaceful Warrior for $1. I was like, this book's calling to me. I'll grab it. I mean, if you've never been to Asheville, I can't recommend enough to get out there and pump in some of those tourism dollars to the community that is, it's been thriving as a tourist city for decades. And maybe you're a nomad. Maybe you need to end up there. Maybe you're a weirdo that, you'll feel like you fit right in if you get out there and you got that vibe going. But Becca, this has been great. I appreciate you taking a voyage with us and sharing your story. And to everybody who was watching and or listening, remember you can watch these on Spotify, even though he is the devil himself who runs and owns Spotify. But this is where we're at in the world. So that's where you can watch these. But you can also watch them ad-free on patreon.com/Ryan Singer. But yeah, so make sure you're taking care of yourself out there. Hope to see you at a live show sometime. And if not, we'll just see you at the watering hole on the astral plane.
Hey friends, it's Daniel Noah here. I'm the director of SpectreVision Radio. So many of the ideas that permeate the genre stories we tell are actually based on real paranormal phenomena. The way we've represented these powerful experiences really only begin to scratch the surface, not just of the way they work, but of the way they feel. When the fine folks at Oni Press approached SpectreVision about creating a comic book series based on real paranormal phenomena, we jumped at the chance. High Strangeness is a series of 5 interconnected stories created by actual experiencers, committed to portraying the reality of paranormal experience as it truly is: strange, disorienting, beguiling, frightening, and awe-inspiring. It's got UFOs, cryptids, men in black, and I mean the real men in black, not the other men in black, synchronicities, interdimensional portals, a deep underground military base, and so much more. This October, Oni Press and SpectreVision are proud to present High Strangeness, a 5-part experiment in comic book storytelling, boasting an otherworldly cast of comic book talents like Christopher Cantwell, Christian Ward and Jock, Chris Condon, Ringo Award-winning artist Dave Chisholm, Cecil Castellucci, Timothy Renner of Strange Familiars, our own Jim Perry of Euphemet. Look for High Strangeness Book 1 on shelves October 8th at a local comic book shop near you. But be warned, when you look into the abyss looks back.